What do you do when you're exasperated with yourself? When you wake up in the morning, what happens 3 hours after you wake up completely sick of yourself? Uh, well, today I woke up at 8:30, which is definitely a bit late, and I was like, okay, great. I slept 10 hours, 9 hours, not the best with math all the time. Um, and I did a body scan and I realized, oh, I'm not in the same level of pain that I was in when I went to sleep last night, which was a big deal because by the time I went to sleep yesterday, my fibromyalgia or chronic pain issues were just driving me crazy. Um, every step hurt. Sitting felt uncomfortable. And also, sitting wasn't exactly what I wanted to do because last night, as I was sitting in my discomfort, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? This might be related to physical pain that psychologically I was just a little bit tense. I had a lot of things that I wanted to do that would all make me feel good, but they were all competing with my lack of energy, my physical discomfort, and all of these things were putting me in a position where I kind of couldn't do anything. But at the same time, I realized I was completely busy the entire time. And this wasn't busy with watching Netflix or doom scrolling. I was actually achieving tasks, but they weren't fun tasks. So by the time I just recognized, accepted, acknowledged, the only thing I really need to do is go to bed. I don't need to get on the Sarah Jum massage table and have a jade roller massage. I don't need to steam my face. I don't need to drink more water. All I need to do is just go to bed. So I got in bed, turned everything off, started meditating, and just kind of put myself into a deep sleep state. And the next thing you know, it's morning, and I'm not sure what the distance was between waking up and opening my eyes and being asleep, being awake with my eyes open, thinking, hmm. So I lay in bed trying to wake up, and I started the body scan and figured out where the pain was in my body and where it wasn't, and compared to where I left off last night. And I was really happy about the state I was in. And then I started thinking, and I just started having really unhelpful, doom oriented thoughts about myself. And by the time I got out of bed a few minutes later, I was upset about my body weight, frustrated with my fitness level, frustrated with actions that I haven't taken regarding my current business plan execution, nervous about how to do everything that I need to do every day this week, considering I have surgery on Wednesday, upset that it's almost spring and the problems with the theft of my shipping containers are going to be magnified by spring weather. All of this was happening. So, in the first half hour of my day, I went from being awake and being grateful to feeling exasperated and sick of myself. So then I started having all these jumbled thoughts about things like the next steps for the day, because all of this disappointment, disapprobation with myself, all of it led to me feeling like there wasn't enough time, there's not enough energy. How do I do the things that I need to do, knowing that I look pregnant, or I feel that I look pregnant? Um, what do I do with my time to best end these thoughts? So I quickly decided within this first hour of waking up that basically I had to do all the normal things. So I did my 100 Hindu squats, and I sat down and I wrote out my fears and resentments. And I wrote them like yesterday when I was writing them. I realized, why are you in such a hurry when you're writing about this? And so I deliberately slowed myself down. I started crossing T's and dotting I's. I was making sure that my writing was more legible, knowing that this is simply an exercise, a cognitive exercise on paper, which helps create space and quiet the noise. But the way that I was executing the exercise, the way I was going through the steps of the exercise, I felt wasn't really surrendering to giving myself the time and the space for this kind of processing. So today I continued that. I sat down and I wrote out my fears and resentments, and some of them were as simple as, I resent that I have to write my fears and resentments when I have all these other things that are so much more pressing than dealing with my head. After I finished writing out my fears and resentments, I sat and I meditated for 20 minutes, just like a basic transcendental meditation combined with a bit of Brahmin meditation. Um, so I wasn't working with the TM mantra, I was working more with the light. Yeah, here, this light. So after I finished that, I got to, I guess, the hour and a half point of what happens when you wake up completely sick of yourself and exasperated with your situation. So at this point, I've gotten out of bed. I've gone from doom thoughts and exasperation to I've done 100 squats. I also stood into Tadasana for 5 minutes and I meditated. I've done some healthy writing exercise. We're at the hour and a half point. And then I turn to the kitchen and I'm thinking there's nothing here that I want to eat. I have ingredients for my daily juicing, which I haven't done. And I've actually come to the point where I've noticed that as I tried to assemble the juicer, couldn't quite remember exactly how to do it because it had been a little bit long. So I got the manual out and actually, in looking at the manual, I realized, oh, I just kind of managed to put the juicer together normally by happenstance of a little bit of jigging and jagging and zhuzhing until something happens. It was actually really kind of helpful to actually look at the manual and come to some understanding of what's actually happening when I put the juicer together in the morning. Uh, and so as I was gathering the ingredients for juicing, my conversation with myself was stupid, which is really stupid, useless thoughts. I have these ingredients that I specifically buy for my morning alkalinizing juice. Like I get up in the morning and I sit up and I drink a liter of water. Sometimes I'll walk to the kitchen and heat water so that the water is warm. And sometimes I will just grab the bottle that's by my bed because that's what I feel like doing. I don't feel like going to the kitchen and turning the kettle on. And so hydration is like a constant thing. And when I go to the kitchen and I'm like, oh, wow, okay, I've got 4 beets. I'm like, oh, maybe I should only choose one. And I'm like, well, why? And then I'm like, oh, well, I shouldn't use this for that and blah, blah, blah for that and blah, blah, blah. And my self-talk is discouraging me from doing what I have already told myself it is that I need to do that's normal. I've even prepared for this. There's no shift in reality based on what I don't put in my morning juice. So I was arguing with myself about adding the garlic and adding the ginger. These things are actually starting to get a bit on the edge. The ginger's developed elephant skin, and the garlic, I've been sitting and looking at that dish of garlic for ages, and it's not been shrinking. The contents are staying exactly where they're at because I'm not really cooking much. I don't feel like eating much. I'm frustrated with my body. So when I cook, I just kind of throw something together. I don't lovingly throw in that hand of coriander or cilantro, depending on where you are in the world. For me, for the first 27 or so years of my life, it was cilantro. Now nobody knows what I'm talking about if I talk about cilantro. So, wanting to put a handful of coriander and some ginger and some garlic in my morning juice is not going to break the bank. It's something that I deserve. It's something that I've even prepared for. Otherwise, I'm just throwing these ingredients out and they rot, like what's been happening the last couple of weeks, because I just haven't I've had unhelpful thoughts and I wake up feeling exasperated with myself a lot of the time. So as I'm making the juice, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I like to make a veggie loaf when I make the juice. And so I put some amaranth on the stove, half a cup of amaranth, a teaspoon of, of salt, and a cup of water. And I'm cooking the amaranth for my veggie bread. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, the problem with juicing is every day I have veggie pulp. What am I going to do with veggie pulp every day? Well, the normal thing I do is I just stick it in things, Just maybe all of this veggie pulp is going to go into the loaf I'm going to make now that I've started. Maybe I'm going to keep some of it aside for veggie burgers because I have some banana peels that I like to make my veggie burgers with. So maybe it's going to be some banana peel veggie nut burgers. Uh, Worst case scenario, I'll make a little too much for me as a single person to eat, and I'll have to share some at the workshop or share some with my buddy tonight when we go make some adjustments to the installation that have come up for the coral reefs. Um, but I've always liked sharing food. It's not a problem if I make excess food. I see people almost every day. It's not a problem, but I'm beating myself up about this as I'm feeling sick of myself. So I get my juice made, and of course it's wonderful. The tomatoes, the everything, the spices. It's got a little bit of kick. It's delicious. It goes down well. I love my juice. And so now we're at about 2 hours after waking up, feeling exasperated with myself. And I walk in here to my office workspace. And when I went to bed last night, I had been looking around the room critically. It kind of began as looking around the room and being excited about the things that I had. being excited about exploring the airbrush today, being excited about the pattern that's on the table that I need to make sizing adjustments for, and the sewing that I'm going to get to do once I finish my sizing adjustments. I was, oops, somebody's calling. Got to decline that. Call back in a minute. Oops. Didn't realize it wasn't on Do Not Disturb. Okay. So I came in here and the kind of tidying up, which was really actually not tidying, it was more of a structuring of how I put together the bits and pieces for this print collection that I'm working on, that relates to pulling the airbrush out yesterday, that relates to watching videos yesterday about how to use the airbrush, which resulted in feeling really excited about the things that I could do with the airbrush and how it fills in the gaps of moving forward with this project. So the room wasn't actually a mess. It wasn't a mess at all. It was a work in progress for setting up for working with this airbrush and intermittently working on the spreadsheet that I have to deal with today. There was absolutely nothing wrong with what I had done. There was nothing wrong with what I did not do yesterday. At one point, I did sit down and watch some Netflix. I've been trying to watch The Crown since it came out. I get a few episodes in. I don't get very far. And in the last weeks, I've been trying to like maybe watch an episode or two a day to check it out, to see how the storytelling goes, to see like why do some people find frustration with this, call it slow storytelling, and why do others find it exquisite? It, it was inspiring and it was fun and it was relaxing. So by 2.5 hours after waking up feeling exasperated with myself, I'd done 100 squats. I drank a liter of water. I drank half a liter of carrot, celery, beet, tomato, garlic, ginger juice. I'd written about my fears and resentments in my journaling practice. I had meditated for 20 minutes. I had cleaned up from all of this. I had started the process of making a veggie loaf. I had organized my workflow space. I had responded to some things for a BIPOC Climate Justice Network that I'm planning on doing today. Yeah, I did a lot. And at the end of that, I've now sat down. I've recorded a video about what it looks like to be exasperated with myself. And now I'm going to sit down and eat some sourdough oat pancakes batter that I have rolling around here with some sausage and some homemade syrup. I like making homemade syrup. It's it's homemade Mrs. Butterworth's basically. It's a flavor of my childhood, which in the context of Black History Month incorporates things that I didn't understand as a kid about, like, for instance, how my father liked to put Brer Rabbit molasses on his pancakes. And friends in the neighborhood liked molasses. Other people liked Mrs. Butterworth's or log cabin. And just as I was interested in how tofu is made, how soy milk is made, how almond milk, how everything digest that you can digest is made, I became curious about making syrup. So I started making my own syrup and following these old recipes for burnt sugar, which I guess we kind of would call caramel, but burnt sugar is beyond caramel. It's definitely more of the real thing flavor wise. It's rich. And so I treated myself to making some, what do you call it, some syrup. And so I basically made Mrs. Butterworth's with a bit of extra vanilla and extra maple syrup in it. So it's a really nice, rich, hearty, molassesy brown flavor that goes really well with these sourdough oatmeal pancakes that are like my signature go-to pancake. And I felt guilty about eating that for the last few days. And now I'm really comfortable with just accepting that I have done more than enough. I more than deserve. I mean, just the 100 squats alone. Let's be fair. I shouldn't be judging myself at this point for a body that is not overweight. Maybe it does look a little bit pregnant. Maybe it doesn't look a little bit pregnant. I don't know. I get a lot of compliments on the street. I feel happy when I get dressed, and I get a lot of good exercise. So I guess the moral of the story is when I feel exasperated with myself, I need to take a step back and really think about what's happening and what's going on and just look at the evidence. This was 3 hours. I thought I was having a bad day, but I'm actually having a pretty good day. And there's more to come in the rest of this day. So, my name is Chandra. Thank you for listening, watching. I'm making videos every day. Goodbye.